This is a customer with a 2013 Dodge Dart. This right here, that's a coolant reservoir. If I open it up, you'll notice we got some relatively clean coolant in there. Here's the problem that occurred. This customer took the vehicle over to one of those chain auto repair places. I believe this one was a Firestone. To have that hose right there, that hose right here. They did not pressure test the system before giving the car back to the customer. This was leaking. If I feng shui myself to the point where you can see down here, you can see the moisture. You can see the moisture there. It's running all down the front of the engine, all the way down to the very bottom. When you step on the accelerator, in fact, you can see it pooling. My fingers are dry. I reach in. Wet. Wet. That's coolant. Coolant leaked out through that hose because they did not put the right clamp on. It leaked down the front of the engine. It has gotten all the way down underneath the transmission. It is all over this oxygen sensor. Luckily, this one that helps the computer figure out how much fuel to dump in is perfectly fine. However, I climbed up underneath the vehicle. The reason the customer called me is because they just had it worked on. And when I say just had it worked on, I mean they just had it worked on. The problem that they're dealing with is that it won't start. It's refusing to start. Trying to make sure that my light is operational. It's very difficult to see with that extra light, but that fluid also leaked. In fact, you can see it right here, especially with the way the light's catching on that. You can see that fluid has leaked. This is coolant. This is engine coolant right here on these studs. It has leaked all the way down the back side of the engine. And on the back side of the engine, that's the starter right there. It is wet as can be. This is the CV axle. It's wet. It's completely soaked in engine coolant. If you care about your vehicle, never take it to one of those repair places that's a chain. I'm talking about Tiresplus. I'm talking about Firestone. I'm talking about Tuffys. I'm talking about Pepboys. None of the people that are there are working for very much money, and a lot of them are not trained at all on how to repair vehicles. This customer needs a brand new starter for their vehicle. And the only reason that they need a new starter is because this one has been shorted out by all the coolant that has dripped down from up above. It is completely soaked. This is unacceptable. It's extremely unprofessional. It has gotten to the point where coolant has even leaked all the way over here. As far as I can tell, there's no leaking hoses up there. I've been pressure testing the system, and so far, the only leak that I found was for this hose way up here that had the kind of clamp that you tighten either with a screwdriver or with a socket. But you can see the coolant has dripped all the way down the front, and that's just on the front. It's here as well. It's all the way, it's underneath here. It's all over the underside of the case for the transmission and the bell housing. It has gotten to the point where it's even over here. It's even over here. So much fluid has leaked down from above. I wouldn't doubt that this vehicle would start experiencing random just short circuits of all kinds of things throughout the vehicle, just because computer modules and wiring are all over the place. All it takes is for one All it takes is for one wire to become a little bit exposed to any of this, and it can potentially short circuit. In fact, I think that's one of the computer systems right up there. Yeah, right here on the battery. Well, beside the battery. But this right here, this is actually the valve body and what is essentially the computer that is inside the transmission. Look how wet that is. I'm serious. This is absolutely fucking unacceptable. Look how wet that is. That's how much coolant has been coming out of this goddamn car. If you care about your vehicle, for God's sake, please find a mechanic that knows what the fuck they are doing. Look at this. It's completely fucking soaked. If this gets on electronics, it could potentially destroy them. There goes your fucking car. There goes your fucking car. It's soaked all the way from the top down. You have electrical connectors that go into this motherfucker. I'm sorry for losing my cool, but god damn, I can't stand it. It is not hard to work on a fucking vehicle. It's not hard to work on a fucking vehicle and use the right goddamn part, not this shit. Not this shit that fucking fails. Because I'll tell you exactly what has fucking happened before. I have seen this shit before. Similar location for the hose and the clamp. Similar location for the fucking computer. Do you know what fucking happened? They were driving down the road, they went over a bump. That came off down there and sprayed coolant all over their goddamn computer system. I know it doesn't seem like coolant would be enough to destroy a car like that, but it fucking can. It fucking can. If you care about your fucking vehicle, please, for the love of God, find somebody. Find somebody. Ask around. Ask a friend. Ask a family member. I normally rag on Dodges because of the build quality and everything, and that they usually make things very difficult to fix. This is about as straightforward as it gets, though. This is about as straightforward as it gets, and they managed to fuck it up. Honestly, I don't even want to fix this anymore. I don't. I just want to take these pictures. I want to send it to the customer so that they can get their goddamn money back. Then I'll fix it, because then she can give me like a fraction of the money that she paid them. I'm really, really upset by this. I have no idea if this was done by them, but considering the cowl extends just a tiny, tiny bit. Actually, just for everyone to see. Oh, and they also ripped that shit up. When coolant gets on the, it's almost like carpet mixed with cardboard. When that gets wet, I don't know what the hell goes wrong with it, but it just disintegrates into a billion pieces. But it doesn't get wet from like rainwater. It gets wet from coolant and it just disintegrates. So we've got that right there. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt they had something to do with that shit. This is the cowl slash like air duct for some reason. Also for some reason it contains the mass airflow sensor right here. Yeah. My guess is that they didn't know that this was tied on. Didn't know, because this is tight. This is tight. This doesn't even actually feel like anyone's loosened it in a long time. You can tell from the corrosion on it. I wish I could zoom in right now. Actually, let me just take this off again. This ring right here, this is one that's not really supposed to come off. You can take it off if you have to with like a screwdriver. But this right here, you could usually tell if somebody's messed with it recently, because there are, I'm trying to figure out how to get a good angle on this. There we go. There's usually witness marks. Trying to get it to focus. 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 This fastener right here, usually there's witness marks on it because they're just cheap bolts and they scratch really easily. I haven't touched it at all. The only reason I pulled this off as is because it wasn't secured. It was just flopping around when I got here. I get here, and this whole thing is just... I honestly thought it was just one of those weird things that Dodge decided to do. Nope. Dodge did it correctly. They put a little thing here so you can unscrew it and take it off. This is 100%. I can almost confirm that this is recent because there is no dust on it. There's like almost zero dust on the part that is exposed. This is once again, just the shitty quality that you get from those chain repair places because they don't hire people that know what the hell they're doing. They don't. Let me put that on there. This is 100% unacceptable. This has obviously been taken off recently, though, before I got here. There was, like, little smudges and fingerprints on it before I took it off. Just clips right onto there. I wouldn't doubt they just saw this and went, oh, it's just connected by that. Went, pop. And then just immediately tried to wrestle the shit out of this thing to get it off, and then ended up tearing up that little rubber boot right here. Oh, if we just squeeze it down tight enough, no one will notice. Yeah, no one will notice. Yeah, no one will notice. When she's getting shitty gas mileage because she's got a fucking air leak that is literally in the only spot on the fucking hose that is post mass airflow sensor. I need a cigarette. I don't drink. I feel like I need a beer after this one, though.